Hey there, good morning, or at least morning for me. Happy Wednesday. This is not the Genesis that we were working on. Don't worry, it's over here. We'll take care of that in just a minute, but before we get started, I want to give you a little bonus content, I guess. We were building this Master Grade SD Freedom, I don't know, a couple weeks ago on stream. We just did a couple episodes on it, and we finished the mobile suit, and then I never did finish the weapons. And so let me move this stuff out of the way, and I'll give you guys a look at while I was waiting to start the stream today. I had a little bit of extra time, so I went and put together the beam rifle and the shield for this little guy, and they're pretty good. There is some good detail here. I kind of wish that this back side of the shield was the inner frame gray color instead of the white. You could certainly paint that. But yeah, good color separation on here. You know, way more parts, as we saw throughout the kit, than you normally get on an SD kit for sure. So yeah, those are looking nice. Let's see if we can actually just put these on. I assume probably that we want to put this in his hand first, and then this probably snaps onto the back of the arm somewhere. Let's see if I can show you guys that. Yeah, there's a little hole, square hole back here on the back of the elbow that this snaps into. Nice and solid. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. And then the beam rifle has, I think this peg right here, the white peg, is so that you can slot it on the back of the skirt if you want to put it back there for storage. But then it also has a peg that fits into the palm of the hand, if I can get that lined up correctly. Yeah, that was easy as well. Of course, I should have bent the fingers in through the handle before attaching that on there. There we go. So yeah, there he is with his weapons loadout. Yeah, and we'll end up painting this guy at some point. I probably won't stream the painting of this guy, but for now, he's gonna go on the display shelf back there, so he can be part of our stream background. So I'm gonna go drop him over there. Last view of Master Grade SD. It was a fun little kit. All right, and with that out of the way, we can get to the real order of business for today, which is back to this build here. And I gotta say, I've actually been looking forward to this stream ever since the last one a couple days ago ended, which probably says something about how much I'm enjoying the kit so far. I've been looking forward a lot to getting back into this build. So let's figure out where we were. I think it was right there. I'll get you guys that sort of a view. Yeah. The only issue that I keep seeing as I handle these parts that are already built, by the way, is just that the front of this blue area here wants to separate. So that's going to require some glue at some point before the final assembly. Hello, good morning. So yeah, but otherwise the build has been real good and solid so far. I'm going to push these out of the way so that we can start on something new, which it says are handguns. Sorry, glare from the lights. There we go. Yeah, they're just little pistol looking things, and they actually mount onto the sides of these thruster units, it looks like, for storage. So let's get those underway. This kit is it's called the Genesis. It's a third-party kit. It was designed by the folks at Infinite Dimension, and I'm not even sure who did the actual molding and casting of, but it's all plastic. So those guys at Infinite Dimension typically have done resin kits in the past. This is one of the first that's molded entirely in plastic. So that's what it looks like completed. and all we have so far are weapons and a shield. And it does transform into some sort of space fighter plane sort of thing. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And I need tools. And it is a lot of plastic too in the kit. I'll show you this real quick, if I can even fit it here under my camera. So this is the box of runners that I have sitting off to the side, and it came with a nice display base as well. So yeah, it was a big box with a lot of plastic in it. I'd say maybe 50%, nah, let's say 33%, so a third bigger than what you'd expect in like a typical Bandai Master Grade kit. All right. And we're gonna need these for sure, and then I'll figure out the rest as we go. Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's very long. It has that kind of look to it, and weirdly, the shield, right, looks like wing for sure. Yeah, as we were building this the other day in the last stream, I was like, it's a more angled version, like so there's more sharp angles and such to it. But yeah, definitely looks like I'm building a Wing Gundam shield. But the rest of the kit, right? Like if you look here on the back of the instructions, it has more of a seed look to me. It's a kind of angled version of a seed look. It almost looks like, you know, an Astray or something like that. It might be the blue and orange that's making me think of like that Astray, the blue and orange, whatever that's called, the second revised version. No, I don't have any. I'm trying to think. In my collection, I don't have a lot of older rare kits, and certainly no super rare ones. Mike, hey, good morning. I do not need, oh yes, I do need one more part off of these runners. Let's grab it now. Yeah, so since the last thing I built, or the last big kit I built on stream was the Zero Gravity Judge. And now I've started building this. I was thinking the other day, maybe I'm just going to become that guy that builds all of the large third-party kits, and not build any actual Bandai kits anymore, which would be sad. I won't do that. But it does seem like that's the direction we're trending, at least lately here. But there are a lot of really good third-party kits coming out, either already out or coming out, so it's nice to branch out, I guess, from time to time. Yeah, I haven't, with this kit, I actually sort of tried real hard to not spoil myself, so I have not seen, I've seen a few photos of it built that other people have posted. I haven't watched any video reviews or read any reviews of the kit. I wanted to kind of go into it blind and see how it comes out. But yes, I agree. I think it's going to be really nice. I have a tendency to gravitate towards mobile suit designs that are very angular and pointy. and probably that's why I liked the zero gravity judge as much as I did. So yeah, this one falls into that category for sure, and I think it's going to be great. And it's weird that if you follow the instructions in order, they actually have you do this, what we're doing here, which is building like the weapons loadout first, and then the backpack. And that's what we'll try to finish today. And then they have you move on to the mobile suit itself, which is a bit, I guess, backwards, but also like avoids that problem of having weapons fatigue at the end of a build where you finish the mobile suit and then you're like, I don't feel like building all these weapons. Although to be fair, this one doesn't have a lot of weapons. It just has that one quite large beam rifle type weapon there. One large beam rifle, and then these two very small handgun looking things, which is interesting. All right, let's put this on this side first. I think that'll be easier. Yeah, and there's actually more to sandwich in between before I close those up. So I'm gonna hold off on, put this the correct way. I'm gonna hold off on putting the other half together just yet. Hard for me to gauge how long it's going to take to do each section of this build. The just what we did the other day took longer than I expected, and I'm not quite sure why. Just going off of pages of instructions, I've gotten pretty good, I think, at guessing how long something's going to take. But this kit seems to be taking longer per page, at least so far. So for today, I, on the little thumbnail, listed that we were going to work on finishing up these weapons and then doing the backpack unit and the wings that go with it. We might get further than that. I'll have to see. And I don't have a specific cutoff time that I have to do today like I did last time. So if I'm enjoying the build, which I seem to be doing a lot of with this build, might continue past the normal stopping time. I think the T-Runner is one of these colored ones. Let's see if we can figure it out. Yes, it's the yellow. These accent colors are so bright in the plastic they use. So I've just noticed something that I did not notice the last time in the last stream, and that is that there are two copies of this W runner. So this cockpit piece, which we chose the green version of instead of the orange version for the shield here, there's actually also a clear version. I did not realize that. And then all of these bits here that are in the transparent bright orange go on like the knees and the elbows and the shoulders, which I thought was weird, but there are clear variants of those. I wasn't crazy about the orange, so that's actually good and something I hadn't noticed. I can do something different with those if I want to color them differently, which I think I definitely do. I'm not sure why when I was unpacking the runners I didn't notice that those two were duplicates. Alright, so this should be all we need here. And this slots in down here. Yeah, this is going to be really fiddly. So they want you to have these parts that don't really snap in, they just sit there all in place and then sandwich them together like so. Yeah, without everything falling apart, just like it did there. That's alright, we can fix it. Feels like the front of this is caught on something, but I think it's just a tight fit. Yeah, there is definitely something with the fit here on the front of this gun. And I'm not going to worry about it too much because I will be disassembling this whole thing prior to eventually painting it. But I don't think that yellow part's going to stay in there. It definitely just wants to slide out. Interesting. So yeah, this looks nice here, but it's not going to stay without a little bit of glue eventually. I'm gonna try to leave it there and not lose it until later on when I do final assembly after painting, and then I will definitely be gluing those two bits in place. Yeah, so the design of these two little weapons, as far as the design, how they go together, and how structurally sound they are, is not great. Probably the first time we've seen that on this kit so far. Things are definitely going to fall off here. Interesting. I almost want to take this back apart and look at the opposite side of how this inner piece slots into the outer section here, because it seems like on this side, the side they had you put on last, that there's something wrong with the fit there. But I'm not going to spend extra time on these little guns. I am going to take both of these yellow parts out though and set them off to the side because they're definitely falling out. Yeah, so we'll just leave it like this. So the handle folds up on both of these and then they slot into the outsides of these guys. I'm trying to figure out which one goes which way. Not that it matters a ton, but like I think that's the outer. Yeah, so they stick on the outside here. Which means the other one goes over here. And I should pivot this little peg bit over to the other side, like so. There we go. So yeah, they look nice. I don't think I'll use them as weapons in the mobile suit's hands. I think they look actually really nice mounted on the sides of those as extra little mounted guns. All right, time to build wings. I'm gonna move a few things kind of out of the way here. We'll leave this here and put those up there. It's cold in my studio today, which is unusual for where I live in this time of year, but we had a little cold weather come through. Maybe it's like the very last bits of winter. All right, so I'm looking ahead to see what I might need here. I'm going to try to streamline this part of the process just a little bit by cutting out a bunch of parts all at once here. These are all the sort of inner frame joint attachment parts for the wing units that we're gonna build 2 of them, obviously, because there's one for each side, and I think they just attach onto the backpack. And it's hard to gauge how large they're gonna be just from the parts on the runners. I think they're gonna end up bigger than I expect. We need these big parts here, right? Yeah. Probably that too, but not for a while. So I'm gonna leave the wing parts on the runners for the moment and just work on this support structure first. And then the wings will be next. I already see a piece that I missed off of the J runner. Looking forward in the instructions there. Maybe I'll go back and get that. Or maybe I'll just wait till we get there. Oh, also, and this is great, it looks like we get to use this thruster part. So this part fell off of the runners while we were unbagging them out of the plastic bags. This thruster fell out and it took a minute to figure out which runner it came off of. And I had it sitting off to the side there just for safekeeping. But it was the match of this one that I'm cutting right now. So we successfully didn't lose that part, which is great. I'm gonna go back to the J runners and get part number 5. Then I can trim this pile that I've got created here, trim the nubs off and assemble. And I think that should get us decently far into what we need for this first little bit here. I've been thinking over the last couple days since the first stream where we built those other parts that are sitting over there, about what I think that my approach is going to be for detailing this kit. And it's a bit hard to decide at the moment because I haven't actually seen, or you know, I've seen they're on the runners, but I haven't held in my hands and worked with any of the parts for the actual mobile suit itself. But I'm leaning toward doing like a full sort of super detailed scribing pass on this kit before I paint it. And what I mean by that is the goal will be to add a lot of mechanical looking detail that looks like it belongs there, not just for decoration. Is that part of the nub or does that come off? So that's another thing with this kit that I've noticed. Yeah, that trims off. Sometimes the gates where they attach to the parts it's not obvious what you should trim and what you shouldn't. But anyway, back to the plan. Yeah, I'm thinking at least with the outer armor bits, because there's quite a bit of detail on the inner frame already. It's like all of these little, this looks like some sort of engine detail and stuff. Those are probably maskable and paintable in multiple shades of like gray or something right as they are without much work. I think the outer armor though, to match that super sort of hyper detailed look is going to require some additional levels of detailed scribed panel work. So I think that is going to be the plan, but again, I have to wait and see once I start assembling the actual arms and legs and torso of the kit to see how those look once they're put together. So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan though, is to not change the color scheme, because I want to use this little nicely printed card which slots into the display base. So I want to use that as part of the display base. And because of that, I don't want to change the color scheme too drastically, because I don't want the picture on the display base to be a hugely different color scheme from the actual kit. And so yeah, keeping the colors mostly the same, I think, but changing the level of or adding more level of detail on the panels and some of the mechanical detail, and then really doing a lot probably of masking on the inner frame parts as I paint them to pick out a lot of this very fine detail that's already molded into the parts. So yeah, I think that is the approach for this kit. You guys can let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching later, if you have thoughts on that or ideas or opinions. All right, big pile of parts. Let's see how they go together. Yeah, that's not one that I need right now. Why don't I sort out the ones I need? Wait, did I not get that one? Yeah, I think right off the bat I'm missing a part that I need. Yes. All right, so now for real, let's assemble this. Goes this way. The fit on that joint is very tight, which I'm thinking is a good thing, right? Because this is likely the joint that attaches the entire wing section onto the backpack. and so you kind of want it to be as tight as possible so that those wings don't droop over time. Did I put that one on the right way? Yes, I did. Cool. I guess we should do this little bit here first. Orientation matters on this as well, so we go this way with that one. Yep, so this goes on to the post on this side, and then we'll put them together. Let me make sure that I oriented that correctly, because I don't want to take this back apart to fix that. I have to, my future self has to take this apart to get the parts ready for painting, of course, but that doesn't look like it's going to be too difficult. All right, so that looks correct. This also looks correct. Alright, so 2 of those. And then we can put these thrusters on the end down here. That's a nice little detail that sits between the bulk of that engine bit and this thruster. Nice. And this little wing flap type piece. It's probably like for vectoring the thrust, right? Goes here. Nice. Actually, I like that quite a lot. A little piping detail up there. Yeah. Again, all of this is screaming out for some either detail painting or masking. I might have not snapped this all the way up into place because it seemed like that other one, once it snaps into place, moves a little easier. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's better. Cool. All right, now we need more parts. That was difficult. I'm trying super hard not to get these parts out of alphabetical order in my box over there, where I have them all stashed away, because as soon as I do that, then I can't find any runners anymore. I know this from experience. And nothing else. Well, yeah, so quite a bit in the future. We're going to need 10 and 14, so let's just get them now. There are these large bits here that go into the center section of the wings. I'm just gonna set them off to the side over here. Yeah, and that should be it off of this runner. Of course, whenever I say that, then it turns out I've missed something, so we know how it goes. As has become tradition, as the music gets a little quieter, I hear one of my neighbors mowing their yard. So if you hear background noise, I apologize. Somehow that never happens until I'm streaming. And then everyone decides, oh, now's a great time to mow the yard. And I think that we've determined in the past that it doesn't affect you guys that much. Actually, I don't know that you hear it, but I definitely hear it in my headphones. So it's probably more annoying for me than it is for you. You're wondering, comparison-wise, what I think of this kit versus the Zero Gravity Judge. I will say, first of all, that it's definitely an unfair comparison, at least right now, because I haven't finished building this one yet, right? But just based on how the quality of the parts and how the mold is designed, like how they're designed, how they fit together, and the precision in which they fit together, I do think that this kit is better than that one. By quite a noticeable amount, actually. And that, not that the Zero Gravity Judge was bad, it was fine. But especially once I had some layers of paint on those parts, the fit was tricky to reassemble it, let's just say. I had to do some sanding and such on some of the areas that I knew weren't going to be visible to get everything to fit back together just right, because the tolerances were so tight. And this one feels more like a Bandai kit in that I feel like I'll be able to disassemble this and paint the parts without having to worry about the areas that are going to need to, you know, have less paint added to them so that they'll fit back together correctly, if that makes sense. So from that point of view, I think this kit is better than the Zero Gravity one, but as far as design and aesthetics and how the final kit looks, we're gonna have to obviously wait and see once we're done. I am super pleased with how the Zero Gravity kit came out once I had it all painted and assembled and such. it's inside my house on my display shelf, so it's not visible here in the background anymore. Because I like it so much, I wanted to put it inside of the enclosed IKEA glass, display case. That one that everybody has. I have one of those. And keep the dust off of it. Oh no, the runners in the box fell over, so I don't know where this one goes back to. Alright, I figured it out. I don't think this very dark blue is used anywhere on the mobile suit itself. I think it's only on the weapons and backpack unit. I'm just looking at the runners. I don't see any parts over there that look like they go on the actual mobile suit. That's actually really nice. I like the separation there and the little bits that are sticking through from the inner frame below. Yeah, that would be the wrong side. Let's try this one instead. I've stopped looking at the instructions carefully, so that probably means I'm almost in danger of any minute now putting a part on that I'm then going to have to take back off because I wasn't paying attention. I think we're okay for now. Alright, that's looking nice. And I think now, we put these off to the side for just a minute. Because we have to build these wing bits, and then they attach on up here, I assume. So, I'll drop those over there for a minute. And then we need some of these blue parts, I think. I do like this light blue color. And I said earlier I'm not planning to change the color scheme of this when I go and paint it, but I may change the tone of the blue a little bit, and I will almost certainly do some sort of color separated multi-hue for the white parts. So like a grayish or maybe slightly tannish version of a white. In addition to the brighter white. Maybe even 3 shades, we'll see. Once again, I have to see the whole thing put together and kind of gauge where those extra colors might go, just to break up large sections of white if that turns out to be what we have, which I think is going to be the case. So here's an example of these weird undergates. I'll zoom in and show you. Maybe you don't care, but like I'm a 3D modeling nerd as well as builder. So it's interesting to me that like, so here, this is an undergate, right? But the way they chose to design it, and this seems to be the case throughout the kit, is they actually just added like a standard, looks like probably 3mm diameter round peg sticking straight up from the surface of the kit there, and then they put the gate out from the side of that. So when you look at it, you're like, wait a minute, is this a peg that I'm cutting off by accident? But no, it's actually just the support that's holding the gate in place there. So rather than doing a more standard undergate, which is weird because they did that here, where it's just a rounded gate that sits on this edge. In a lot of places on this kit, they've done that thing with adding a peg and then having the gate coming out from the side of the peg. Yeah, so that's every time I do a double take when I see those, and I feel like I'm cutting a peg off that's important for the attachment of the part, but it's not. It's just there to hold the gate. That one's hard to trim cleanly because it's close to that edge there. And as is tradition with these snap build stages, I try really hard to just trim with the God hand nippers as close as I can, and if I leave a little extra, that's fine because I'm going to sand it later. But I always try to avoid having to actually get out my hobby knife. I thought we were done with this runner, but there's actually a couple more parts left on it. Alright, so these go on this way. Right? I guess it's easier if you put the other side on first. This is reminiscent of this blue bit that's on the top of the large gun there. And the problem I had with that was out at the point, it doesn't fit together tightly enough, and so then it separates. and is going to require a tiny bit of glue. But it seems like here, these fit a lot better than that did. There is a slightly annoying seam line right down the middle of that part, and they've tried to sort of disguise it as like a panel line detail up there. But it separates a bit up here at the end of this tip. I guess it's okay. So here I am thinking and talking about scribing extra detail onto the outer armor of these parts, but like look at this wing flap and the amount of detail that's already there. Yeah, that's pretty great already, actually. Need these as well, right? It would only make sense. And probably these are probably like leading edges of wings or something. That is my guess. So yeah, these wings are larger than I thought they were going to be from just looking at the parts. All right, anything else from the R runner? I mean, I hope not, because it looks like it's empty. Hey, we finished our first runner. Nice, all right, so this is on the floor. And what? I need you. Oh, weird. U is the bright green transparent. Oh, I see. So these are like the little lights that go on the tips of the wings. So for that one, I am going to have to get out the hobby knife, because there's a little edge there, or bump there, that's definitely going to impact the fit. Let's just shave that flat. Yep. All right. I'm being very careful with that particular hobby knife. Every time I use it, I immediately put the cap back on, because it was sometime recently, I think it was like last week. I need it again here. I had just put a new blade on this knife, and I think I was using it for like the second time with the new blade, and I finished using it and set it just on my desk, and I was working on something else, and I don't know if I bumped the desk or bumped the knife, but either way, it rolled. And it does have like this little notch on the handle that's supposed to prevent it from rolling too far, but it was so close to the edge of the desk that it rolled off the edge and fortunately missed my leg on the way down to the floor. But that's my first thought as I saw it rolling off the edge and the world started going in slow motion was, this is gonna stab me in the leg. Unfortunately, it did not. So now, every time I use it, the cap goes right back on. There's more of these weird undergates that look like they might be pegs on this part. And now that I've figured this out and I'm confidently just trimming these off, there's probably going to be a peg somewhere along the way in this build that I trim off because I think it's one of these things. Alright, can we assemble some things now? I think we can. Let's see, orientation matters. Alright, so this goes this way. So for the assembly of these bits, they're doing this alternating slots kind of idea that I've seen Bandai use on some of their kits as well. There's these slits that are like long rectangular slits that are available on the inner frame bit, or like 2 pegs from this one and then 1 peg from this other side to slot into, and so they kind of hold each other in place once you get them both pressed in from either side. That should work well here, so that we can get these nice and tight and close together so that we don't have gaps. Although right here in the middle, there's definitely, maybe they needed one more because there's a gap right here that is wanting to separate out. So again, maybe a tiny bit of glue is going to be required when we do the final assembly on this thing. We'll see if this other side is any different. I'd expect it to be the same as far as the fit there along the middle of this lower section. Also, it may be that that gets covered up anyway. Actually, it looks like it's going to. Now that I look at it, there's 2 pegs here that something slots over the top of. So yeah, actually, I think it's going to be fine. Like, that gap is there, but it's gonna either be covered up or closed in with something that holds it together once we slide another piece on there. Alright, what's next? These white ones that we cut out a long time ago and did not trim nubs off of yet. These just go in here. That's the wrong side. Yeah, so this is a really simple design here for these wings, but I really like the little details they've put into it. Right, so we have this white bit that's kind of the center section of the wings, and then we have the light blue trailing edge and the dark blue leading edge. But they all fit onto this gray part, and the gray part is maybe hard to see on camera because it's so close to the dark blue, but it's showing through in this little gap here between the parts and in a few other spots, just to add some extra detail there. Yeah, and it looks really nice. This one is having a small fit problem right there. Let's see if I can fix it without having to do too much trimming. I'm actually going to just take the part out and put it back in with that peg first to see if I can finesse it into place here. So this is the one that was having trouble fitting. And it still is ever so slightly too large. So let's just fix it slightly like that. That should help. Yep. Very good. Yeah, so these wings are not going to require any extra level of scribed detail. They're not going to require it, but I might add just a little or deepen the lines that are already here just a touch. But they look pretty good just as they are, which is awesome. Did I forget? I did not forget. I thought for a second I forgot to put these wingtips on, but they are next, so it's fine. Yeah, they don't sandwich in between the two wing bits, they just stick on the outside here. And then here's our leading edge, which maybe I should have put in first before that. No, it's fine, it'll fit. And stay out of the way. Yeah, those are really nice. I am really happy with how those look. Let's see how they slot into here now. Yeah, nice tight fit, good amount of stiffness in that articulation there, so that's encouraging. Alright, so it wants 5 and 6 and 11 and 19. Alright, so this one goes on this side. We're now getting to the part where the wings aren't... They're mirrored from one side to the other versus being exactly the same. So I just need to be careful about which orientation some of these joints are going to fit in so that it goes together correctly. Alright, so I think that these are the two wings done. We just have to build like the center part of the backpack that they attach onto. And so let's vacuum up some nubs first. Alright, clean work surface. Let's get some of these weapon bits out of the way. We'll drop these wings up here. And then build the backpack that holds them together. But first a drink. I have caffeinated citrus-like juice today instead of water. I don't think I prefer it to water, so probably in the future just water. But it was in our fridge, so I figured I'd try it. Alright, let's see. We need the S runner. Oh. We need our favorite F runner first. I'll be glad when we're done with this runner, and I think we're getting very close. Because this is that one we talked about at last stream where like the numbering on this one is so strange. Like the numbers don't seem to be in sequential order across or down the runner or in any sort of obvious pattern. They're just like scattered all over the place. And you can never find parts on this runner. So I will be happy when it's finished. So much so that I'm going to look ahead and figure out if I almost certainly need these two big parts off of this runner, but I don't know if I need this 15 that's down here. And that is the last part here. Yes, I do. Alright, cool. So let's just finish this runner up while we're here. And then I can very happily toss it on the floor and not have to look at it again. Alright, just double checking that it's empty. Does that look empty to you? Yeah, I think it's empty. Alright, let's get rid of it. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking over there at the wings that are completed, and they look really nice, but I know from past experience with building transforming kits that have some sort of a aircraft type mode, that at least it seems to me that when you look at pictures in the instruction manual or on the box of what that transformed thing looks like, they always manage to like take those photos or do those renders from specific angles that make the kit look good, and then when you actually build it and transform it, it never looks that great. And so I'm interested to see with this one what that transformed version looks like, because it does look pretty amazing on the box art, and even like on this little card that they put for the display base. But again, like when you start to look at it from other angles, I wonder if there will be like holes and gaps in weird places and that sort of thing, which tends to be the case sometimes with transforming mobile suits. So yeah, this one I am interested in seeing the transformed version. I probably won't leave it that way for the final pose, and I almost certainly won't transform it after the painted version has been like, you know, all painted and assembled, because I don't want to scratch the paint. But at least once, when we're finished with the snap build, I will transform it to see what it looks like. So that R runner that we finished was one of two that is this very dark blue color. And this S runner is the other one. It's the only other runner that's this color, and I think we're about to use the last two parts. Yeah, we are, off of this runner. So I was correct in my assumption that this dark blue color only appears on the backpack unit and the weapons, and does not appear anywhere else on the mobile suit itself. And I can say that for sure now because we're out of parts of this color. Weirdly, one half of this seemed like it had more nubs on it than the other half. So I finished trimming those and I was like, wait, are we sure that we got them all? Looks like we did. How is the fit there? It seemed like it was going to be loose, but it's fine. This is going to be a nice little sawtooth detail that's going to be sandwiched in between these parts here. You look down inside there. Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, even the lighting here at my desk catches that just right when you look at it at the right angle. I do feel like this dark blue is going to need to be either a lighter shade of blue or somehow differentiated a bit from the gray, the dark gray inner frame, just so that you can see some of these details on the wings better, because they are pretty good, but at least to my eye here, you know, with the colors they've chosen for the plastic, the dark blue and the gray are too close together to really pick out a lot of that detail. So that's something for my future self to think about as well when it comes to picking an exact color scheme that I want to use here. So again, not recoloring it in a very drastic way, but maybe making subtle changes like that to the shading so that certain things stand out a little bit better. gonna have to trim that so that the fit works. There we go. And then I will try to trim this one a little bit better with the nippers than I did that last one. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So this should be fine, and this fits onto here. All right, so we have these already. And we have two runners attached to one another. There we go. That is the downside of stacking the runners in the box as I do. It's pretty easy for that sort of thing to happen where something, you know, one of these little bits that's kind of sticking off of a runner where you've cut a piece off already catches in between two things in the other runner. So when you go to pull it out of the box, you get other runners attached and coming along with it. But I still don't mind, like rather than having some sort of special runner stand or organizer or whatever, I find that just stacking them in the box like that, at least for me, works perfectly fine. And takes up a smallish amount of space as well. And then like when I'm finished with a build session, it's not hard to just put the box away. All right, so this goes together. Nothing fits in between them, right? Yes, that is correct. It's gonna be a super tight fit. This might be a case where I never take these two parts apart from one another again. Like when I disassemble to paint, why does it matter to separate these two parts? It should, I can clip it using this little sort of C-clamp area there, or even just put a peg through one of these holes, or put a skewer through one of those holes to hold it for painting. Yeah, because that fit is super tight. And it's all the same color anyway. Not that it won't end up being the same color once I paint it, but that was gonna require masking anyway, so yeah. Okay, this goes where? Here. Except this way. This way. Yeah. Orientation matters, don't wanna screw that one up, because this is gonna be tough to disassemble if I ever need to fix anything. All right. This goes this way. That's interesting. So here they've just, they attach this little sort of hatch cover onto this post in such a way that it can rotate like this. That's a different type of hatch gimmick that I don't think I've seen before on a kit. Okay, let's make sure that we put this in before putting these two halves together. And also the orientation of this matters. How do you even fit? You go there, I see. I was looking at the wrong attachment point. All right, that looks correct. And then this goes here. No, it goes here. It seems like there's a big open space here that needs to be filled with something. So I'm just double checking before I push these together, because again, the fit is going to be fairly tight. but there is nothing else right now that has to go in between there, so we're good. And this little rotating hatch cover thing is pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure what that is for yet. We'll have to see. Making sure all the articulation works. Seems good. Yeah, so this folds down into there if needed. Okay. Got it. Didn't remember there being 2 J runners, but apparently there are, because I need 2 of that little round part that I just cut. Yes, there are. Alright, so these go in here, and it is open from the back side, so I can be fairly confident that pushing these back out for future disassembly purposes is going to be fine. These aren't keyed in any way, these round slots. So, but there is a very small, detailed, circular design pattern on these pegs. So when I do final assembly, I will try to assemble them in an orientation as I put them in there. I'll try to rotate them into a orientation that makes sense and is the same on both sides, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Alright, so we need 2 and 3 here. And another little circular detail. Now I think we're done with this runner. It has this part here still on it, and I'm going to keep it in the box because of that reason. But this was the copy we saw of the red part that's in here. It's exactly the same part. So I think, even though the instructions didn't say so, that you could make these little missile pods gray instead of red if you wanted to. And I think that part's extra. But I will keep the runner in the box just in case I am wrong about that, and we need that part later for some other reason. All right, so orientation on these matters as well. So I need this one to go on this side. That slots in there, and then this little cover covers that peg. It's a nice little detail. We do the same thing on the other side. That's another case where like I could line up the little circular detail on both of those and make them the same, you know, opposite on the other side. That's a thing for my future self to work on when I do the final assembly. We have now used 2 parts, this will be the second, off of this O runner, of which we have 2, so there's a copy of this O runner still in the box. And this is the first time we've used a part off of a duplicated runner where we've only used 1 part. So there are definitely 2, this white part here and then this part we're working on right now are definitely, there's a copy of them that's going to be extra at the end of the build. And this slots on here like so, right? Now weirdly, the instructions don't show us in which orientation to put those wings onto this backpack unit. They just have us moving straight into starting to build the legs and then the rest of the mobile suit. So I'm gonna skip ahead to see if it will show me where. Oh, and I guess I see, like, they want this to fit on to there. On the back of the chest unit. They want you to put this on, I think, before putting the wings on, and then they have you put the wings on later. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to just check these and see. Yeah, so what they have us doing eventually, right, is that these go here. And then those thruster units that we built previously go up above. And I'm not sure that the orientation matters. I mean, it does matter, but yeah, so this one is this side. They are slightly, the joints that attach them in place are slightly different from the left to the right. So this is meant to be on this side. And that's a ball joint, so it can have a lot of range of motion. It's a ball joint that sockets into a thing that already has some forward back rotation as well. So these thruster units will be able to move in just about any way you want. Yep, and the front part here still wants to come off, but let's rotate this back. They fit nicely in, I guess you gotta rotate it forward, right? Yeah, and then they fit nicely into those areas as well, so that's cool. You know, of course we could rotate this around if we want the wings facing this way, which is probably what happens for the transformation, right? That probably happens, and then this probably sort of folds. It can't fold down anymore? I thought it might fold down and lock into place, although this works like this, and this flap here on either side of that thruster makes sense visually. Yeah, that one did actually slide down a little more and slot into place there. Oh, there's actually a little peg that they slot onto. Nice. Okay. So yeah, this is probably part of the transformation into aircraft mode, probably looks something similar to that. And then it has those missile pods that can open up there. Oh, and then this little spinning hatch thing is now visible right there, and it probably has something to do with the transformation as well. It probably opens up and we can attach something in there. All right, that all makes sense. Cool, I'm happy with how this looks. Very nice. Interesting mechanical detail here on the underside as well. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so that is where I'm going to end for today. After saying that I had more time to stream, which is true, we're at a good stopping place. So rather than start on one of the legs and then have to stop partway through, which is almost certainly what would happen, we will wait and build the legs next time. Yeah. Or maybe I will build one leg and have the parts cut out so that we can quickly build the other leg. We'll see whether I have time to do that for the next stream or not. Yeah, so there we are. Today's result. Looks pretty nice to me. And yeah, I can see a few places where I want to add some extra detail, as we had talked about, but definitely the wings are quite good as they are. Maybe a few more places up here that need just a bit more detail to sort of match that same level of detail and style. Cool. All right, looks good. I am done for today. We'll be back next time with legs, and probably just legs, because I imagine that's going to take a while to build. And so that'll be the plan for next time, which will be Friday, but I don't know what time on Friday yet. We'll have to figure that out, given that my schedule is a little bit different than usual this week. So I hope you have a good one. I will see you then. Thanks for watching. See you next time.